All right, welcome. So here are the solutions for homework number 3. So if we want to get used to like adding and subtracting and multiplying imaginary numbers, this is it. And just FYI, or just a reminder that this is the homework I was talking about right here. Your homework number 3 was question 2, A to E, and question 3, A to F. Okie dokie. So let's just do this. Hopefully you're getting better and having a better feel for complex numbers and how to evaluate them. And just an FYI reminder, the definition of a complex number is in the form a plus bi. And remember that this a and b, this part of it, are the real parts, and I is the imaginary part. And what do we mean by real and what do we mean by imaginary? Real has to do with what? It has to do with the number line. This is real number line. And imaginary, well, it satisfies that I squared is equal to minus 1, meaning that I is equal to the square root of minus 1. Okay? That these two things hold. Okay? And yeah, so let's do the first question together. Okay, camera angle is nice. Let's do this. And I'm going to speed this up because I don't want to take 30 minutes to do one homework solution. But, if you have any questions about this, what you always have to do is pause the video, show the part, raise your hand, put a side note, and ask me. If there's anything confusing about a video, don't just continue and not ask. You have to stop and then try and figure it out. Okay? So here, number 2, it says express each of them in the a plus bi form, which is that complex number. Okay? So here, if we're just going to add these two, 13 plus 4i, we can't do anything, so that's 13 plus 4i, and this is just plus 7 plus 5i, and that's equal to what? 20 plus 9i, and that's it. And can we simplify this anymore? We can't, because it's just I. It's not like a I squared or something, so that's it. Next question. Here, we have 5 minus I minus 2 times 1 minus 3i. So the way to solve this, just by looking at it, I'm thinking distribute the negative 2. There's a negative 2. Oh, whoops, sorry. There is a, let me zoom the camera angle a little better. Okay. So here, there's a negative 2 that we need to distribute. So this becomes, well, 5 minus I, we can't do anything with it, so we just leave it there. So minus 2 times 1 is minus 2, and that's plus 6i, because you have minus 2 times minus 3. And now when we combine this all together, this becomes what? This is 5 and the minus 2. They're like terms, we can combine, so that's 3. And minus I plus 6i is plus 5i. And that's it. Okay? And now let's look at the next question. The next question, if you look at it, it's saying just take whatever you have for b and square it, because we evaluated. Imagine this wasn't here. This is the same thing as this. So they're just saying, the question is literally just saying, just take whatever you get from here and square it. So it would just become 3 plus 5i squared. Okay? And remember, we can evaluate this. This is equal to 3 plus 5i squared times 3 plus 5i squared. Okay, let me fix camera angle. Okie dokie. And now, oh, whoops, sorry. That is incorrect. No. It's just this squared means you just multiply this times itself. So then what happens here? We just FOIL it, right? We just FOIL. So this becomes 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 5i is plus 15i. 5i times 3 is plus 15i, and 5i times 5i is plus 25i squared. Okay? If this was too fast, rewind it, raise your hand, it's okay. Now here, 9 we can't combine with anything, but 15i and 15i we can combine, so that's 9 plus 30i plus 25i squared. Now once we get to this point, it's very important that we always remember that I squared is equal to minus 1. Okay? So we can substitute minus 1 for this I squared. So this becomes 9 plus 30I plus 25 times minus 1. And this just becomes 9 plus 30I minus 25. And when we combine, you see this, we can't combine anything, but this we can. And this just becomes negative 16 plus 30I. Right? And that's it. And remember, we want it as negative 16 plus 30I because that is definition of a complex number. It's a plus bi. It's the bi is on the right side. If you were to write over here 30I minus 16, this is no bueno. This is kind of incorrect. We don't want to have that. Okay, we always want the two real parts over here and the imaginary part to the right side. Okay, so this is just equal to minus 16 plus 30I. Okay, and that's the answer for C. Okay, let's look at letter D. It's telling us generally the same idea, just FOIL these two guys. So if we were to FOIL these two guys, what do we do? It's 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 7I is plus 21I. Minus I times 4 is minus 4I. Minus I times 7I is minus 7I squared. Okay? And if this was fast, just take your time and FOIL it again and see what happens. Okay? Now here, the 12 we can't combine with anything, but what are we going to do? It's kind of similar to what we're doing here. We're going to combine the two middle terms together. So that becomes 12 plus 17I and minus here 7. Remember this I squared is equal to minus 1. So this is times a minus 1. And this is equal to what? 12 plus 17I plus 7. Plus 7. Okay? And now here this becomes 19 plus 17I. And that is it. Okie dokie. And that is it. Now let's look at the next question, letter E. Letter E, well, okay, this is a kind of a tricky question, not a tricky question, but look, this, we just solved it. Remember, this is equal to this, and we just solved this, so we know that this is equal to that. So this is just 19 plus 17I, and this, we already solved this one. This is from question B. It's this question, which was 3 plus 5I. So this is just minus 3 plus 5I. That's basically what the question translates to, because we already solved this. Oh, whoops, there's a mistake here. There should be a parentheses here. Okay, we already solved this question. We already solved this question. Now they're just saying, take the answers from both those two questions and just subtract it. So you have to do what? You have to distribute that minus 3. So this becomes 19 plus 17I minus 3 minus 5I. Yeah? And now 19 minus 3, that's equal to 16. And 17I minus 5I is plus 12I. Okay, so we're done with question 2. Let's look at question 3. It's just more examples. Okay? Here, let's see what happens. Here we have 2 plus 5I plus 4 plus 3I. So here, this just becomes 2 plus 5I plus 4 plus 3I, right? Nothing really happens because here we're adding and you're just applying that positive 1, so nothing is really happening here. So this just becomes 6 plus 8I. Easy peasy. Okay, next one. Here it's saying take these two and subtract it. Well, here we have to distribute that minus. So this just becomes minus 1 plus 2I minus 4 plus 3I. Okay? And now here this becomes minus 1 plus minus 4 is minus 5. We combine these two, and to combine these two, this becomes plus 5I. That's it. Next one, letter C. We have 4 plus I plus 2 minus I minus 1 minus I. Okay, here Just take your time. This 4 plus I, we can't do anything, so we write it here. This 2 minus I, nothing happens, because here there's that positive 1. When you distribute the positive 1, remember, nothing happens here. But here, you have to distribute a negative 1. So this becomes negative 1 times 1 is minus 1. And negative 1 times minus I is plus I. So this becomes, okay, so now we have to combine all the terms. We can combine 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 minus 1 is 5. So we got rid of the real numbers. Now to the imaginary numbers. I minus I, this just cancels. That's just 0 plus I, so this is just plus I. Okay? If you feel like the rhythm is very fast, take your time, slow it down, see what's happening, and if you have questions, always ask me. Here for letter D, what is it asking us to do? We just multiply. So let's just multiply this quick. This to this, this to this, this to this, right? So 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 5i, I'm sorry, 5 times 5i is plus 25i. This is plus 9i. And this is plus 15i squared. Okay? And now here, 15, we can combine this. This is 15 plus 34i plus 15i squared. Right? And now what? Here, that I squared is equal to minus 1. So 15 plus 34i, this is just minus 1 times 15, so that's minus 15. And look, 15 minus 15, that's just 0. So this just becomes 34i. But the trick is, if you were to write this as the final answer, it's technically not good. Because we need to write it in this form, a plus bi. And to write it in this a plus bi, right? The right way to write this would be, and you're going to kind of hate me and say, Mister, you're dragging it, but it is literally 0 plus 34i. This is how you should write this. This is not in standard form of that complex number. It's this, okay? Okay, last one and we're done. Oh no, we have 2 more. Alright, this question was a little sneaky. So here, the way we do this question is, well, let's think about it. Let's say, if I were to say, what is 3 times 4 times 5, right? What if I had this for you? 3 times 4 times 5. Well, 3 times, how do you solve this? Doesn't matter which way you go. You could do 3 times 4 is 12, and that's times 5, and that becomes 60. Or you could do 4 times 5 is what? 20, and then multiply it by 3, so that's 60. It doesn't matter which way you do it, right? And that's the same way here, that you can either, option 1, distribute the minus I only to this one, or only to this one, and then evaluated it. Because here, let's say, if you were to put in minus, if you were to multiply minus I to this whole thing and this whole thing, that is not correct. Because that's the same thing as if you did this. Imagine you said 3 times 4 times 5 is the same as 3 times 4, 3 times 5. You know, you're not distributing the 3 to both of them. You're distributing, there's not even a distributor, you're just multiplying it. So here, what I would do is, I would just multiply the minus I to this guy first, and then you're going to FOIL it. So this is, what, minus 2i plus I, when you multiply this to this, okay? And then here, now you do 5 plus 6i, and you just FOIL it up. So then this would become what? Minus 2i times 5 is what? This is minus 10i, and minus 2i plus 6i, this is minus 12i squared, right? Because minus 2 times 6 is minus 12, I times I is I squared. Now this is I times 5 is plus 5i, and I times 6i is, what is this? This is 6 plus 6i squared. Okay, But now how do we remember I squared is equal to minus 1, so we can simplify this. This minus 10i stays how it is. Minus 12i squared, remember minus 12i squared is just going to equal positive 12 because I squared is negative 1. So negative 12 times negative 1 becomes positive 12. So this becomes positive 12. And this is plus 5i. And this becomes minus 6. The same idea that we did here. And minus 10i plus 5i, that is what? That is minus 5i. And plus 6 minus 6, this is positive 6. And remember, we want it in the a plus bi form. So we're going to have it like this. And that should be it. Okay, last one. Oh boy, this is a lot of work. What are you going to... Just think about it for this one. Here, FOIL it. And then here, what are you going to do? You're going to multiply this to this and this to this, and then minus an I. So let's do this. This is 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times minus 3i is minus 3i. I times 2 is plus 2i. I times minus 3i is minus 3i squared. Okay, so we just evaluated this. Now what do we have to do? This to this and this to this. And remember, definitely not this to this. This to this, this is not they're not connected that way. So 3i times 1 is plus 3i. This is negative 3i squared, and this is minus I. So you have this whole mess, but just put it together, okay? So one at a time. What I like to do is I like to get rid of these I squares first. So here, this is 2 minus 3i plus 2i minus 3i squared becomes plus 3. This becomes this plus 3i minus 3i squared becomes plus 3, and this is minus I. Okay, what I want you to do is try and do this by yourself. What's next, you know? Combine them. 2, we can combine, let's see, we can combine, yeah, you guys like to do this, right? 2 plus 3 plus 3, so this becomes what? 2 plus 3 is 8. And then let's get another color going. Minus 3, what do you guys like to do? Triangles? Alright, let's do a triangle. Okay. And this becomes what? Minus 3i plus 2i is negative I. Oh no, wait, here, this right, this and this cancel. So 2i minus I is just plus I. And it should just be 8 plus I. Whew! Okay. Done. 18 minutes to explain a homework. But hopefully that was really good for you guys, so you get used to this. Remember, these questions are just like the warm-ups. You know, like we can get much more complicated questions. So yeah, all right, good job, you guys. I will, if there are any questions, you know, you just let me know. I'll see you.